It's the Agribusiness Report. I'm Tony St. James. Welcome to Omaha and the 2022 ABA Ag Bankers Conference. And Tony Coder is here. Tony, it's great to see you.
Hey, great to see you, Tony.
The fact that we're two Tonys here is pretty amazing. But welcome to Omaha and your opportunity to talk to bankers. Is this your first time to this conference?
This is my first time to the ABA conference, and I am so grateful to be invited because this is an audience that we always dream of having because of the nature of our business, and being able to reach folks who are on the front lines is just really, really fantastic.
Well, let's go ahead and tee you up as the Executive Director for the Ohio Suicide Prevention Foundation. And wasn't sure I'd be here this week because last week I had a cold, but I didn't choose to have a cold. Can we equate that with mental health?
Absolutely. Having a cold is a great analogy. We don't choose to have it. I talked a lot about my son having bipolar disorder. My other two kids do not have any kind of mental health issues. So it is something that, just like any other illness or any other health condition, it's something that is not we choose. It's not a character issue. It is literally an illness. It just affects our brain instead of the rest of our body.
Now, for those who may not have any mental illness in their family, can stress build up to the point that we just, our chemical imbalance puts us in danger?
Absolutely. Stress is an enormous factor, whether that's relationship stress, financial stress, even just stress of living. We've been through a lot the last couple of years with the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic, the political pressures that are surrounding us. Those are all stressors. And that doesn't mean, you could slip into a depressive episode, into a depression, but that doesn't mean that you're mentally ill. It almost has a stigma around it by saying that. And, it's something that I think everybody experiences. And, we just have to realize that it's a perfectly natural thing to do, and that with the right help, the right care, and sometimes we even, can come out of it, by doing some self-help things, whether that's praying or meditating or whatever it is, that can help us out as well.
Warning signs. Are there some warning signs that we need to watch in others as well as ourselves?
Absolutely. If you're feeling really, really down, if you're feeling low, if you see that your friends or your family, your kids, all of a sudden they've been around the family and it's like, wow, I'm not seeing them anymore. Or that friend that pops by every week or so, you haven't been seeing them for a couple of weeks. Those are big issues. If you've noticed that, the alcohol usage is increased. If you see them, maybe struggling if they're kids at school, or even becoming really moody, that, they were really happy and all of a sudden they have these high and low mood swings. Those are big signs of whether someone might be struggling with some mental health issues, and it might be a perfect opportunity for you to bring it up and say, hey, is there something I can help you with?
Well, and that's a perfect point because I'm not really trained. So how can I help?
Literally having a conversation. There is a gentleman, his name is Kevin Hines, and he jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge, and he lived to tell about it. And he tells the story, if one person would have stopped him and said, hey, how are you doing? He says, I wouldn't have jumped. And that's the same with all of us. There are days we're going to have bad days, and it's a lot better to go through it with somebody. As Tony, you're my friend. What's going on? Hey, how can I help you out? Literally, it's that simple. And literally, by having that conversation, it can release a burden that has been laying upon them, and really help that person gain a better understanding and better opportunity to become whole again.
You're here at the Ag Bankers Conference, opportunity to talk with those who are involved with farmers and ranchers. Is there sometimes a weight on our shoulders for those in ag or those in family-run businesses?
Absolutely. In agriculture, I mean, you look at everything that a farmer and a rancher has to deal with. A lot of it is outside of their control. Whether that's Congress, whether that's the weather, whether that is even whether your machine breaks down, your horse dies, whatever it is. Those are things that are outside of your control. And then when you add on top of it things, like I had a fight with the wife. My kids are struggling. All of those things, can really start adding up, and it can really be something that can really impact a farmer and his family, and that's why I'm so grateful to be here today.
This is preventable, isn't it?
Absolutely. Suicide is probably the most preventable cause of death that we know. It's about knowing the signs. It's about understanding, having that conversation. It's about being able to offer yourself and knowing that I'm not a clinician. Yet, having simple conversations, and even if someone is feeling like they're suicidal or they're really struggling, being that friend, being that person to help them to find care is so valuable. There was a lady that told me, and I carry this with me everywhere. She said, she said, when I got cancer, or when my father had cancer, everyone brought me soup. Everyone was so, they offered to take my dad to the treatment. They offered to clean his house for him. They offered to do this. When my daughter got bipolar, everybody backed away. We have to break that stigma, and we've got to be able to, treat folks who have family members who might themselves be struggling with the same care that anyone with a cold, as you mentioned, or a broken arm, or whatever other kind of physical ailment that you might have. We got to treat folks, the same as someone with a physical health condition.
So, Tony, obviously, if I see you struggling, I can reach out and help, and vice versa. But what if there's nobody around? Can we call Ghostbusters, in other words?
There is a Ghostbuster. It's not Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and those folks. It is 988. It used to be a long 1-800 number. I couldn't even remember, and I said it probably 3 times a day. Congress passed, and each state now has a 988 system. Just like 911 for an emergency where your house is on fire or whatever, 988 is for a mental health emergency. You dial that. Within 20, 30 seconds, you have somebody on the phone who can help you. If you don't feel comfortable talking about it on the phone, you can also text 988, and somebody will text you back, and you can text with that person. And the best thing is, those text charges don't show up on your phone bill. So if you're struggling and you don't want the wife to find out, or the husband, or whatever, then you can it's totally between you and the person that you're corresponding with.
So the last question for you, as you look at, compared to where we were 10 years ago, we can talk about this today. Are you optimistic about us making progress in attacking mental health and the stigma? Do you see that coming?
Absolutely. It's just like today. What a fantastic opportunity to speak to the ag bankers and to be able to come and to have this conversation. I don't think this would have happened 10 or 15 years ago. This is a subject that folks, I was invited. I didn't bust my way in here and demand to be thrown on stage. Instead, I was invited because, the ABA was they understand that folks are struggling, and that mental health is something that permeates all types of career paths. Not many people know that the number one industry for suicide are construction workers. And so being able to have these conversations now is just fantastic. And this is a way, the only way we can beat this problem is by talking about it and helping those who are struggling get the help they need.
Tony, so great to see you. Thanks for the work that you do. If we want to follow you and find out more information, obviously, we've got the 988 number, that's there. But if we just want to be a little more comfortable with our facts and how to deal with the situation, can we do that online?
Absolutely. You can visit the Ohio Suicide Prevention website at www.ohiospf.org, and you can find things for kids and veterans and farmers and any kind of population. Plus, there's even a section on if you think someone's struggling, how to have that conversation, things to say, things to not say, and that's what we found was the number one thing that families wanted to know was how do we even talk about this? So yeah, come visit our website, and I think there'd be a ton of resources you could use.
Okay, website once again, ohiospf.org.
And I'm old school. I go with the www. I don't know why.
And I can remember the SPF part because, I can remember SPF. So ohiospf.org. And the phone number again, or text 988. Tony, so great to see you. Thanks for your work.
Thank you so much.
Tony Coder joins us today from the 2022 ABA Ag Bankers Association's annual convention in Omaha. I'm Tony St. James. It's the Agribusiness Report.